Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be back. I'm sorry that I've been gone for so long. So many things have been happening. I've been really busy. I've been sick. I have filmed a couple times and they came out of focus, and then other things happened where I just couldn't finish recording. But anyways, today I made you guys a contouring video, so I'm so excited because I know a lot of people ask me what I do. I use all drugstore products, all drugstore brushes. I don't use no like expensive brushes or anything. So if you guys are ready to learn, then just keep watching. I'm going to start with Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the color Cafe, and I'm going to start by applying that right underneath the higher part of my cheekbones, the tip of my nose, underneath my bottom lip, my jawline, the temples of my forehead, and the top center part of my forehead. I'm going in with a dry beauty blender and I'm just blending out all the concealer. I usually do patting motions, but you'll see me do kind of like a sweeping motion, and I'm pretty much just wiping off the concealer because it gets a little difficult to blend sometimes. So patting and sweeping motions until it's blended all the way in. And make sure you pull back your hair as you can see me doing, because when you get it into the hairline it gives it more of like a natural look. Now I'm going to be taking my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the color Fair. I'm going to be applying very little bit to the tip of my nose, then I'm going to make 3 triangles, one on the center of my forehead, 2 underneath my eyes, one very small dot on my chin, and one very small dot on my upper lip. Now I'm taking my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush and I'm going to be doing patting motions because I don't want to move around this concealer too much. I want it to just stay in the areas that I put it on. But when you get under the eyes, you're going to need to do patting and sweeping motions because it is a lot of concealer under there. Now I'm just taking a dry beauty blender and I'm just blending out the line between the darker and the lighter concealer, and then I'm removing a little bit of the concealer from under my eye. I'm kind of just like erasing the brush marks and stuff with that. And I forgot to blend out my concealer on my forehead, so I'm going back in with my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush and doing that. And then I'll take my dry beauty blender again and just blend out the line between the darker and the light concealer. I love this palette. It's my NYX Highlight and Contour palette. I'm going to be taking an Eco Tools blending brush and I'm going to be using the banana color. I'm going to use that color to set all of the light concealer that I applied. Oh yeah, and make sure that you do not have creases under your eyes before you apply the setting powder. Now I'm going to be taking my Real Techniques blush brush and I'm going to be using this to set my darker concealer. I'm going to be taking the second shade over and I'm going to use that to set the darker parts of my concealer. And I know it looks funny, but making the fish lips like that, oh my god, it helps so much. You want to make sure that you run the brush from your ears all the way to the corners of your mouth and then just set the rest of the darker concealer. Make sure you connect the temples of your foreheads to your cheekbones so that you don't have a gap there. That helps make it look more natural as well. I am using my Eco Tools shading brush. It's an eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to take one of the darker colors of the palette and I'm going to apply that to the lower part of my cheekbone. Like, I'm really defining my cheekbone and I want it to look nice and high. So I'm going to make a small line with it, and then I'm going to blend that out with that brush. Using that same brush, I'm going back in with the second color, the lighter color that I was using on my full face, and I'm going to contour my nose. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to just brush it on the sides really lightly, and then I'm going to go over the bridge of it one time. I'm going in with my Morphe 9B blush palette, and I'm using the same Real Techniques blush brush, and I'm going to be using the center color. I don't know what it's called because I don't have names, but make sure that you dust it off before you apply it because it's very pigmented. And I'm just going to slightly smile and apply that to the apples of my cheek. I'm taking my NYC translucent powder, and I'm taking a dry Real Techniques beauty blender, and I am going to be defining my contour even more. So this is what you call baking. I'm going to be dipping the beauty blender in the powder, and I'm going to be making a line from the corner of my mouth to the center middle part of my ear. Now, when you make both of these lines, you need to make sure that you really make them even, because if you have one line high and one line low, when you brush all this off, it's going to show that you have a high cheekbone and a low cheekbone. So make sure that you double check these lines. And make sure that your lines are really straight, because if you have like a jagged line, when you brush it off, it's going to show your contour jagged. So make them straight, double check them, make sure they're even, all that good stuff. You guys know what I mean. Now this part is optional, but I like to get that translucent powder and just go over everything I already set, but really lightly. I feel like because this powder is white, it gives it kind of like a more brightening effect than having that banana on there. But if you want it to be more natural, then I would probably just stick with the banana color that you had already used to set. And you're done. Yes, girl, work it. I'm just kidding. You want to grab a really fluffy brush. I'm using my Equal Tools full powder brush, and I'm going to just brush off all of that excess darker and lighter powder. I'm going to be brushing off the powder, and I'm going to be blending that out at the same time. I am using my Holy Grail Champagne Pop by Jaclyn Hill, and I'm using a Real Techniques setting brush, and I'm using a setting brush because I like to pack that baby on there. I love me some highlight. So I'm going to pack it to the higher parts of my cheekbones, and then barely touching, how do I say this? Lightly touching the product. I'm going to get some to put on the tip of my nose, but I don't want to pack it on the tip of my nose. And then I'm going to put some on the top part of my lip, and then I'm going to barely touch my chin with it. You don't want to be glowing on your chin. And then I'm going to barely touch it to the arches of my eyebrows as well. I'm using that same Equal Tools fluffy brush, and I'm brushing off the rest of my baking, and then I'm going to kind of blend out the highlight from under my eyes and all that stuff, so you'll see me doing that. And then I'm going to be taking the blush brush with no extra product and blending in the highlight to my blush. I'm going to be finishing it off with about 4 sprays of my NYX setting spray that I absolutely love. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share, and make sure you follow my Instagram page.